Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of On My Last Brain Cell. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I made a video, obviously. I never said I was going to be consistent with it, and I'm so sorry. There were so many videos that I wanted to make, but as you guys know, I do have two jobs, and then my main job being a housekeeper. Luckily, I am getting more hours, because now here in Vegas, when you work on the Strip, usually everything is on call, so that's why I did have a lot of time before to make videos, and I wanted to make one so bad, but I was just exhausted, man. I was like, I don't have the energy to like not only kind of get ready but just sit in the car and talk, and I just didn't have the energy to. And then this was also a video that I was kind of putting off a little bit, because like how I said, I know that with this podcast I wanted to be a little bit more vulnerable. I kind of wanted to talk about things that I normally wouldn't on the podcast that I have with my friend. But I guess it was easier said than done, because the next couple of episodes are going to be a little bit, I guess you could say, like on the deeper side. This is the one that I talked about in the first episode of me explaining why, and it's it almost sounds so cringe to say it, but it's like why Lana Del Rey's Ultraviolence, like why I hold it so close to me, and why that album has meant so much to me. Some people have asked me to give like an explanation or why, because everybody knows how in love I am with that album, and I never really explained why. And some people have asked me like, what is it, like what's the correlation, how do you relate to it so much, because it is one of her darkest albums, and it was, you know, when she was in an abusive relationship. So everyone is like, how do you relate to this? So I have my tablet here with me because I had to write down so many notes, because if I were to do this just going based off of my own knowledge, I wouldn't be able to concentrate. So one night I sat down, and I re-listened to the entire album, really read into like the lyrics, and then just wanted to come up with my own consensus with it, and why like it relates to me so personally. So we're just gonna jump right into it, because I feel I am gonna be talking a lot, and you know, we'll just jump into it already. But yeah, so Lana Del Rey released this album back in, I think it was like 2011. It was a good ass time ago. I believe I was still in high school, or I think no, she released it afterwards, because I remember listening to Born to Die when I was in high school. Then I graduated in 2014, so I think she dropped it after that. It's been a minute now since she released the album, but when she released the couple of singles that she released, it was so different from what she's usually done, because by that time she only had like Born to Die and then Paradise, and then she kind of combined the two with each other, and then she came out with the iconic Tropico. And then she kind of like fell off for like a little bit. Then she released Ultraviolence, and it was, that album changed so many of our lives. Like so many of us related to that album, the themes that she was talking about, which I do want to get into it, because I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't. I don't want to fucking hear it. It was almost like the same thing when SZA dropped what's the album called? It was this past one, I can't remember. It was after Control, where everybody was just being a fucking pick-me about the entire album. And with the Lana Del Rey one as well, where everybody was like, oh, she's romanticizing abuse and romanticizing assault and this and that and yada yada yada. But then there's like those of you that have been in abusive relationships, using abusive as a blanket term, because abuse comes in all different forms. So that's why so many of you stayed in that relationship, was because you romanticized not only the relationship but your partner as well. You didn't stay, there was no other reason why you stayed unless because you're, not to be insensitive, but like because you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? So it's like you romanticized all of that. So why is it when somebody else was talking about it, all of a sudden you wanted to switch up and be like, oh, that was never me, could never be me? And it's like, that was you. That actually was you. And that's the reason why. And for so many of us, that is what gets us through so many things. It's like romanticizing it. Because specifically for me in my abusive relationships, wholeheartedly did not want to believe that my partner could be that way. Because the thing is that you meet somebody that just completely sweeps you off your feet. They smooth talk you, they sweet talk you, they shower you with gifts, shower you with love, with so much touch and just everything that should be like in a quote unquote like perfect relationship. For them to completely switch up and then they just start hitting you, they start verbally abusing you, psychologically, whatever it may be. So like that's when, for me, in my opinion, that's where the romanticizing comes in, because you don't want to believe that that's how your partner can be, because it's like, I didn't see these sides of you and all of a sudden I am now. And then like it becomes psychological, because it's like, okay, was it something that I did I trigger something? Am I not being patient enough with this person? Because like kind of like with my last relationship, they went through a lot growing up, they did have a lot of abusive relationships. So it's like, am I not being patient enough, and am I not being understanding enough, you know? So it kind of, it's you almost start to gaslight yourself and be like, no, it is me, like there's something that I'm doing. But in the end, it was never you, it was always that person. But with this album, I'm not relating it to my last relationship. Gross. No. No. I'm relating this to the first person that I truly ever fell in love with, and that was back in high school. But yeah, that's, before I jump into that, this is why I need notes, because I'm fucking everywhere. Yeah, I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to fucking hear it. A lot of you romanticize that shit. You guys choose the worst situations to act like fucking pygmies, and oh, that could never be me, when it was you. So that's the disclaimer, I guess, that I want to put out there, is that I don't want to fucking hear it, you know? But yeah, let me clear my throat. Ew. Yeah, I'm correlating this album to my first ever relationship, and who I consider to this day the love of my life. I'm not gonna say his name. We're gonna call him Gemini, because he was a Gemini. He was a May Gemini, so he was a little bit calmer. He was psychotic, but he was a little bit calmer. I think I just spit. Ew. We met back in high school. I think it was like 2012, 2013. That's when, in my high school here in Vegas, I don't know if every other school does this, but in my school we did that foreign exchange student program. He was from Australia and he came down. He first met my other friend. She won't care if I say her name, Emily. We were best friends since like elementary school, dude. Like we went to all schools with each other, fucked it up, all of that. He met her first, and then I met him through her. And I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was about me that caught his attention like that, because he was very conventionally attractive. He was that typical 6 foot, green-eyed Australian with a thick accent, you know, the surfer body, all of that, you know. What's the Hannah Montana thing, like, what was it? What was it, like something with the surfer's body? I can't remember what it was. I can't remember, but that's besides the point. So he would, like, a lot of people, and when they found out he was bisexual, a lot of people wanted to go for him. But because I've always been the same, where like I never gave men the time of day or like the attention, or I just never gave a fuck about men, that's what called him to me, I guess. And yeah, we hit it off instantly. He was incredibly sweet towards me, you know, like everything I just said. The relationship at the beginning was very rocky, because the thing with him is that he was so used to being like a little fuck boy and being like a little toxico. And I told him from the get-go, I was like, you got the wrong pitch, period. I was like, you got the wrong one. You absolutely got the wrong one. Because even then, like, no matter how I've never been that type of person where I let somebody walk all over me or treat me the way that they wanted to. And I was worse back then. With my past relationship, I was a little bit more understanding and forgiving and accepting. Back then, I was fucking ruthless. I didn't give a fuck. You showed me 1 ounce of toxicity and I was like, get the fuck out of my face. Like, because I did not deal with that shit at all. But, you know, as I got older, I needed to understand that, like, you know, we all deal with trauma, we all have our demons, you know, we need to be understanding and supportive to a certain degree. Once it becomes like that person just wants to be complacent and just stay in their ways, okay, then you will not be a part of my life anymore. But back then I was just a raging asshole. And that's how I was with him, because he would always be like, oh well, you know, you want to act like that, I could go fuck another bitch. And I was like, so can I was like, I have the same beggar that you have. I have the same amount of attention that you get. I was like, you're not fucking special. So the relationship was really bad at first. We were, and I'm giving like a really quick summary because I don't want to get into it like that. But we were off and on for like years, dude. But we always came back to each other. And then towards the end of the relationship, like the last two, because we were together for 5 years, like off and on, but in total it was 5 years. And then the last 2 years, that's when he came back. He moved back to Vegas, because I forgot where he moved to, but he came back to Vegas and he completely apologized for everything that he ever did. And he was like, I'm just so sorry for everything I did to you, for the way I treated you. Like, I have always loved you and I always will, and it took me this long to realize that you're the one that I want. And I felt the exact same way. As toxic as he was, and as much of a fuckboy as he was, my heart was always his. My soul was always his. My entire being was always his. Like, I loved that man, and I still love him in ways that, my eyes are getting watery. But I loved him in ways that even to this day I can't even explain. Like, he was everything to me and I was everything to him. Like, it was, I just he was, I can honestly say that was my soulmate. That was my one true pairing. That was the person that I was supposed to be with my entire life. But trigger warning for anybody, unfortunately he was that type of person where he let his demons win. He did go through a lot growing up, but like I said, I'm not gonna get into it because I don't want to put his business out there. But it was hard for him to heal, and hard for him to move on from his past traumas and from what he went through growing up. And he unfortunately let those demons win, and he unalived himself like a while back. It's been, I think the last time I spoke to him was 20, I can't even remember anymore, but it was years already. And he unalived himself, so that's why we're not together anymore. Because I know for a fact that if he was still here, I would still be with him, because he was truly the one person that I wanted to be with, that I wanted to grow old with, that I just simply wanted to be with, because he had every part of me, and to this day he still does. And I feel like that's why, I honestly feel like that's why a lot of my relationships don't work out, because the day that he left, he took so much of me with him, including my heart, the love that I had. Just, he took so much of my entire being with him, and he was my first everything. And I poured so much of myself into him because of how much I loved him. And then when I saw that different side of him when he came back and he apologized for everything, I gave him even more, because he made me feel safe, and he made me feel comfortable, and he made me feel loved. And when you've been truly, and I'm not talking about like the way that people are nowadays, like what the fuck ass love that they give, but when you have been truly loved and cared for and protected by somebody, everybody else just falls flat, dude. And like how I was saying, I feel like that's why my relationships don't work out, because at the beginning, yes, I would try to search for him in everybody else, because I was like, there has to be somebody else like him. Like, there not everybody could be such a sack of shit. But hey, newsflash, every man's a raging piece of shit. And I feel like now, subconsciously, because I know there's ways that he would have never treated me that men treat me now, where I'm like, yeah, I'm done talking to you, I'm not gonna be with you. Because he was so protective over me. He was so incredibly jealous that he would, I'm not even lying to you, and even like if I would ever to bring Emily onto the podcast, she can vouch for me that he was so overly protective and jealous when it came to me, that he would literally physically fight somebody if they were to like disrespect me or cross a line with me or just be any certain way towards me, which it is a little bit problematic because it's like, okay, let's calm down. But it was just the way that he loved me, you know. And I try not to be selfish about it, because I know that he's finally resting and he's finally symbolically happy, I guess you could say. But it's just like, man, like, you bastard. It's like you left me here to deal with the grief of your suicide, and you just left me here. You just left me here alone. Like, that's where like the selfishness came out, where it was like you didn't think about me and you didn't think about the relationship. And maybe if you would have held on just a little bit longer, like, I could have helped you more and we could have flourished, you know. But at the same time, in my heart of hearts and in my mind of minds, I know for a fact that he wouldn't have made it out alive at all, because it was extremely hard for him to heal. It was extremely hard for him to move on. And as much as I tried to help him, his demons just got the best of him, unfortunately. And, you know, he did what he did. And it's such back and forth emotions, because like I said, I don't want to be selfish about it, but at the same time, it's like, why, dude? It's like, why, man? Like, you were, I don't know, dude. It sucks. And lately, I don't know why. I think because of this last relationship, like, I've been thinking about him so much more. Because when my last relationship ended, I was like, I would have never gotten into this if you would have never done what you did. Because me and you would have still been with each other, dude. But it's moments like that where I'm like, no, Adam, I was like, you know, he's happy. You know, he was better off. Truly, he was better off doing what he did, because he was just, I know he was sticking around for me and because he wanted to be with me, but he was slowly deteriorating and rotting away. And even though I do have like those selfish thoughts when he did it, I knew that I couldn't hold on to him any longer. And it sucks, dude. It fucking sucks to have to lose somebody, not only like the love of your life, but to lose somebody in that way, but then to also have to comprehend and come to the conclusion that they were better off this way. Because I truly believe, and me and Emily have had this conversation before, that I truly believe he wouldn't have made it out any longer. It was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. And it sucks to say, but it was bound to happen. But he will forever be the love of my life, and he will forever have every part of me. My heart will always be his. My soul will always be his. My entire being will always be his, no matter what. And I remember telling Emily all the time, like, if he were ever to just randomly and abruptly show up, I don't give a fuck who I'm with, I will always go back to him. Because I sound like a broken record, but that's the love of my life, dude. Like, that was my soulmate. That was my everything. And it sucks, dude. It sucks, but I mean, it happened. But yeah, but this is why this album means so much to me. So we're gonna go kind of through track by track. So some of them I didn't really relate to, so I was like, whatever, you know. I'm gonna just read off what I wrote, so I could like really like give you like the full explanation. So the album starts off with Cruel World. This is the opening track, and it's a very chaotic track, because after a while, like, she starts singing it, and then like there's just a bunch of instruments going around. And for me, that kind of symbolized like how the relationship started off, where it was like, okay, it was kind of loving, and then out of nowhere it just takes like the hugest turn, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck happened? So what I wrote was, opening track is very chaotic, like how I said. For me, it shows the progression of how a toxic relationship can seem like, very much chaotic, push and pull, matching energies, all of that. You want that person to leave, but you also don't want them to, because of the burning love you have for them. She starts off the song with "Share my body, my mind with you," and then after the chorus, she adds, Share my body and my mind with you, that's all over now. For me, this shows the relationship is over, and she also states that she found someone else because she knew the relationship would eventually end. I resonate with this a lot because that's how that relationship felt like for me. If he wanted to do whatever he wanted to do, he was free to do that, but I also wanted the same for me. I tried so hard to get him out of my mind and move on and remind myself that every time we argued, he would go and fuck his ex, which he would. But deep down, I knew he loved me and I knew he could change. But like with every situation, we met at the wrong time, but that connection and that genuine love we have for each other kept pulling us closer and closer. It's like we knew we would end up together somehow, and we just had to get through this dark path. She ends the song with, "You're crazy for me," and that's the symbolism I saw. We both knew that this would be a roller coaster ride for the both of us, but we couldn't let each other go no matter how hard we tried, and no matter how many other people we tried to fill that void with. So with that was something that he would do at the beginning of the relationship. I do put a lot of it on me because I was stupid enough to where he told me that he was still friends with his ex because they were very close. But that's what he would do whenever me and him would argue, because that's the way that she was as well, was that when she knew that me and him were arguing, she would always be like, "Oh, well, you know, you always have me to run to," and I would be like, "Bitch, I'm gonna shoot you." I was like, what the fuck? But that was also my fault because he gave me the option to, like, if you don't want me speaking to her, I won't. And I was like, no, I understand, because you guys are friends and you guys had that connection, so I get it. But he took advantage of that, and he would always fuck her every single time. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning, when it was about that he was so used to being toxic and he was so used to being a fuckboy, is that he wanted pretty much like what I dealt with so many other men before, is that they wanted me to stick around and be loyal, but they wanted to be the rounds going around, fucking around and doing whatever they wanted to. It was like that mentality of like, it's okay for me to do it, but not you. And I was like, yeah, you got the wrong bitch. I may have been like stupid to a certain degree, but when it came to certain shit like that, I was like, yeah, no, if you're gonna be fucking around, I'm gonna be doing the exact same thing too. Like, you could do that with her, but not me, because she lets herself. I won't. But yeah, it was just, there was something about him, dude. Like, I knew that we were gonna end up with each other, because to a certain degree, he did act differently with me. Like, and Emily would tell me all the time too, like, he would completely disrespect the shit out of his ex. Like, he treated her like shit, but with me, he was very soft. But then, like, he would let, you know, his fuckboy tendencies come through, and I was like, yeah, you need to get that checked. you need to fix that, or I'm gonna leave. And I constantly left him because I was like, I'm not dealing with this shit. And like every other guy that's toxic towards me and I'm the one that leaves, I end up being the bad guy because I left. And I'm like, I told you I would leave. I don't know why you're acting brand new about it. I told you I would fucking leave. But after that is the song that we all love, which is Ultraviolence. That song, I feel like that's when the album truly starts. And oh my god, dude, the minute that I heard that song in particular, it fucked me up, dude. So let me read it. I wrote, "This is a song that really did it for me. The song that encapsulated everything I was feeling and experiencing when dealing with a toxic lover. The ups and downs, the try and give ups and give ins. I love you, but I also hate you. I would do anything for you, but I don't want anything to do with you. It was such a tango dance with him, but I couldn't stop. The lyric that hit me the most was, Jim raised me up. He hurt me, but it felt like true love. Jim told me that loving him was never enough." The first time I heard that lyric, dude, crying. I listened to the album late at night, because that's when she... No, I don't think she released it late at night, but I listened to everything at night, because it hits different, and I was fucking crying, dude. I was crying. I was like, yo, this is how I feel. Because that's how it feels after a while, that like, when you're giving so much of yourself to somebody, but then they continue in their ways, it's like, is my love and also me being submissive to being subjected to your behavior, is that not enough for you? Like, what is it that I have to do to make you realize that I love you? It's like, I'm already letting you walk all over me to a certain degree. What else do I have to do? It's like, do I have to be fully submissive? But then it's like, if I am, I'm gonna be losing parts of myself, and then who knows if that's even gonna change you. But continuing, because again, that's how the relationship felt. It was the most toxic reassurance he could give me by telling me, I'm not treating you like everyone else. I'm not using you just for sex. I protect you like I never protected anyone else, which is what he would tell me. And it was almost a form of gaslighting. Like, yeah, I'm out here fucking my ex when we argue and I'm not being loyal, but who do I come home to at the end of the day? Who do I say I love you to? I always come back to you because I love you. But at the same time, I felt like no matter what I did, it was never enough. And then this is when literally what I just said. Maybe I should have been more submissive. Maybe I should have just kept my mouth shut. Maybe loving him and letting him do whatever he wanted. Maybe I was really the problem. But it did feel like true love, because yeah, he came home to me and I was the one he always wanted, and yes, he treated me better than the people he was using. So it was a constant battle of, should I stay or should I go? Voice my concerns or let him be who he wants to be? It's crazy how we romanticize certain things like this only because we want to be loved and feel loved, when in reality we shouldn't be begging anyone to show us basic respect, not only towards you but the relationship as a whole. And that's how it felt. Like, literally what I just said is like, okay, should I just let you do whatever you want? Because it was very toxic reassurance, because it was true, like, and how Emily told me too, which I'm not blaming her at all if she's watching this, but it kind of fed into like that toxic reassurance of like, yeah, he's treating you with love, he's treating you so much better than he's treated anybody else. Like, he's treating her so misogynistically and so like just like shit. And he may be doing the same to you, but it's not to the degree that he's treating her. So it was very like toxic reassurance, and just, it was just bad. It was that typical like, oh well, at least he comes home to me, at least he says he loves me. And it's like, no bitch. He comes home to you because you let him, and that was the whole thing. I was letting him, but it was very much like push and pull. But I'm telling you, there was something about this man. There was something. So then after that is Shades of Cool, which I should have read too, because I feel like for me they kind of went like hand in hand, and that's what I wrote. Shades of Cool was almost like an ultraviolence part 2 for me. It's the realization that your lover is living in shades of cool, meaning he's nonchalant and disregards your feelings no matter how many times you voice them. That's what the chorus meant for me. She says, you are unfixable, I can't break through your world because you live in shades of cool, your heart is unbreakable. You had that saddening realization that no matter what you say, even if you cry to him about how he's hurting you, he genuinely doesn't care, and there's nothing you can do to not only stop him but make him change. For me, the lyrics, I can't do nothing about his strange weather, hinting at the toxicity in the relationship. One minute he loves me and the next minute he wants nothing to do with me. For me, it touched more on the toxic reassurance of, but I love my baby and I come home to you. Especially when she says, he lives for love, he loves his drugs, he loves his baby too. And when he calls for me, he calls for me, not for you. And the line in the second verse, when she changes it to, he lives for love, for women too, I'm one of many, Bonnie's blue. You start to see the pattern of not only toxicity, but the constant disrespect in your relationship. He lives for love, meaning he lives for the attention of other women, but he lives for your love. He doesn't see them the way he sees you. He doesn't treat you the way he treats them. You know that you're one of many, but in the end, you're his Bonnie, his confidant, his partner in crime, the one he truly wants, the one he prefers. But again, as I stated earlier, it's a toxic reassurance of, yeah, he's with you, but he comes to me, and yeah, he's with you, but he prefers me in the end. That's when the relationship becomes beyond toxic, and it's not even a relationship anymore. He doesn't want to see you with anyone else, but it's not the same for him. It's almost like you have to acclimate your life to fit his needs, wants and desires, and put your own mental state and your own needs, wants and desires on the back burner. But you're willing to do it because in the end, he comes home to you and he loves you. He gaslights you enough to make you believe that he's in this for the long run, and to just ignore his desires of other women, because again, it's you he comes home to. And then I know I sound like a broken record, but that's truly what it feels like. Just a constant battle and having to reassure yourself that this relationship is worth it. Because even though he's out here cheating, it's you he chooses in the end. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they went hand in hand, because it's like you have such a realization of like, man, like you really are that toxic, but it's like you really do make me feel desired. You make me really do feel love. You really do make me feel like I'm the only one in your world, even though I'm not. So it's just, I think the minute that I sat down to really read because like the lyrics always hit me and like the songs always hit me, but when you really fully analyze it, it was in this moment where I was like, fuck, dude. I was in one of the most toxic relationships ever, but here I was pouring my whole heart into it, pouring my whole soul into it, giving him every part of me. And even then he was like, I'ma still fuck with this other bitch. And then I remember like when we ended up like and me and Emily had this conversation, and it's so bad, dude, where the one time that we officially called it quits, because I was like, I'm done, you won't stop, like I can't change you, you don't want to change, you're complacent, fuck off, you know. He ended up hooking up with a guy at school that we went to school with, and I was told that when they were hooking up that he said my name, and then I come to school and this kid was hating me, and I was like, oh my god. So then it's almost like it's again that very, very toxic reassurance of like, he loves me, bitch. He's so obsessed with me. And it's so bad, dude. It's so bad. But like I said, I loved him and I wanted him. I was his Bonnie and I was cool with it being. And then there was Brooklyn Baby, but I didn't really resonate with it too much. There was like certain lyrics, but it wasn't anything crazy. So what I wrote was, to be completely honest, when it came to this song, it didn't resonate with me at all. It's a good song, don't get me wrong, but I really couldn't figure out what it was about because I can't. From reading some of the lyrics, it makes me feel like people are showing you why you shouldn't be with this person, but you find little ways to remind people why you fell in love with him. Maybe it's a similar interest, the little things he does that make you happy, or parts of his personality that you fell in love with. That's what I got with the chorus. My boyfriend's in the band, he plays guitar while I sing Lou Reed. I got feathers in my hair, I get down to be poetry. It's also similar interests and sometimes things like art, creating music together that can bring you closer with your significant other. And there's those little moments that bring that glimmer of hope that you and him will be okay and the relationship will last. I get it when it comes to that perspective, but at the same time I really don't know what it was talking about. Cause it's true, like, and that's what was happening with that relationship, where like there are like those little glimmer of hope where it's like, okay, maybe he does love me, maybe he does want me, maybe I do just need to be more submissive, I need to be more understanding, more forgiving, more open, yada yada yada. And it's like, because like you so badly want the good to outweigh the bad, because you don't want to be that type of person that focuses on the negative all the time. It's like, okay, yeah, you may have cheated on me, but it's the way you love me that keeps me around. It's the way that you protected me. It's the way that you don't let anybody disrespect me when I'm around you. But at the same time, when that happens and they realize, and you kind of have that conversation with them, we're like, okay, I don't want, you know, the bad to outweigh the good. I want the good to outweigh the bad. That's when they kind of, it feels like they start to take advantage, because they can see that, where they're like, okay, I can treat you like shit, but if I shower you with all this love and affection and with gifts and all this other stuff, then you'll completely forgive me. And that's when it becomes like a very push and pull, you know, because it's like, I want to love you, but you're showing me so many ways. You're showing, there's so, I'm getting lost in my words. You're showing me so many reasons as to why I shouldn't love you, but then you're showing me so many reasons as to why I should stay with you. And it's so bad, dude. I fucking hate it. And then next with was West Coast. I kind of felt the same way. These are good songs, especially West Coast, but I was like, I don't relate to this one, so we'll just skip that one. And then Sad Girl. Oh, dude, this song is so good. This song is so good. So what I wrote was, with Sad Girl, it feels like a Shades of Cool Part 2 for me. That realization that your partner is nonchalant, but this is the opposite feeling now. You were trying so hard to give yourself that toxic reassurance that he comes home to you, but now it's completely affecting you in a negative way. But you're still trying to find the silver lining in it all. When he says, you have seen my, oh my god, I'm already messing up. When she says, you have seen my man? No, she says, have you seen my man? I wrote this really late. I was just typing hella fast. He's got the fire and he walks with it. He's got the fire and he talks with it. For me, it symbolizes that you have this handsome, charming man and everybody wants to be his friend and be around him, and it almost makes you feel alive in a way. He lights up every room he walks into, and he can start an instant conversation with anybody. That's how my ex was. Everyone loved him. Everyone wanted to be his friend. Everyone wanted him in so many ways. And for a second, yeah, you love the attention it brings. Because just like she says, you haven't seen my man. He's the most handsome, and I get to be his arm candy, and he chooses me over everyone else. Again, it's that toxic reassurance, because then she says, his body on the side, his money on the side makes me a sad, sad girl. At this point, you start to accept that you're the side piece. You're the one he tosses off to the side and only calls for you when needed. But you're still with him because he constantly calls for you. He constantly looks for you. He constantly desires you. It makes you sad, but he chose to be with you. That's what I get with the lyrics. Being a mistress on the side might not appeal to fools like you. Like, yeah, I may be on the side, but have you seen this man? It's totally worth it. It's the constant toxic reassurance and self-gaslighting that no matter what he does, he will always choose you to be on his side. That's how it was for me. He entertained so many people, but he always chose me, and he always wanted me on his side. It's such a roller coaster, but it goes back to what I said earlier. We deal with this kind of love because we want to feel loved and be loved, and we'll get any form of it just to fill that void inside of us. A shallow void, to be more specific, because you're letting this man constantly walk all over you and blatantly disrespect you just because he's handsome and charming. And that also shows that it's not just me. So many of us are shallow, that it's like you have like the most handsome, most hottest man with you, and he's treating you like shit, but you're like, no, but he's hot though. It's like, but he's hot. No, dude, but look, but he's hot. It's so worth it. And it's it's so, I keep saying it, but it's so bad, because like once you get older and you start to realize like the way that you acted because of somebody's looks, it's just like, man, like you were young, dumb, and just willing, dude. And it's almost like a rite of passage, dude. Like you kind of have to chug on that dumb bitch juice for you to not only gain more self-respect, but I guess you could say like life experiences, and just to become more mature and realize that like, okay, I shouldn't be doing this. Like I shouldn't let a man walk all over me just because he's conventionally attractive, you know what I mean? But it was just, yeah, because I had the hottest guy, I was like, yeah, walk all over me. As long as you come home to me. And then after that is Pretty When You Cry. When I saw Lana years ago, because that's when she released Norman fucking Rockwell, and it was for her LA to the Moon tour, she performed this song and I started crying. Because like I'm telling you, this album was everything for me. And she didn't tour with this album because it was too much for her to tour with. And even when she does sing certain songs, even when she does sing songs from the album, it's certain songs. And if she ever does perform Ultraviolence, she never says he hit me and it felt like a kiss anymore. Like she lets the crowd sing that, because she says that she's not in that mindset anymore. She doesn't believe who she was back then. Like she doesn't want to associate herself with that type of purpose anymore that was putting up with that type of abuse. So she doesn't tour with the album. She didn't tour with the album, and when she sings some songs, she doesn't do it fully, because she's like, I don't want to go back into that mindset, and I'm not that person anymore. But you know, kudos for her that she was able to like move on from it and heal and become a better person because of it. Big ass bird. But I'm like, you deprived so many of us from this shit, bitch. So it's Pretty When You Cry. I wrote, for me, this song was showcasing the end of everything, especially the lyrics. I'll wait for you, babe. That's all I do, babe. You don't come through, babe. You never do. The relationship is about to end. The somewhat love is no longer there. The interest is no longer there. And this man does everything he can to hurt you because you're pretty when you cry. He loves to see you suffer and to have you crawl back to him because he knows you'll forgive him and take him back in a heartbeat. He knows you'll wait around for his love and affection and attention and the possibility that he might change. But it never happens, and you continue to wait on him. When she says, all those special times I spent with you, my love, they don't mean shit compared to all your drugs. For me, with my relationship, it meant no matter how much time we spent with each other or created memories, it would never compare to all the women he would have rather been with, or him just doing whatever he wanted to do. Then she says, don't say you need me when you leave and you leave again. I'm stronger than all my men except for you. Don't say you need me if you leave last year leaving. I can't do it, but you do it well, because I'm pretty when I cry. Like the way that a man could just be manipulative in that way, where it's like you blatantly see, like you could see, like you are self-aware enough to see like the way that this man is treating you, and you can see that the love is dwindling down. But it just sucks when you are that type of person, and it sucks how people call it nowadays, where like you have like that old school love where you're into, you know, monogamy and being loyal and just pouring your whole heart into that person, and that person just doesn't give a fuck whether you live or die. Where was I? He would always come back and apologize and say he needed me in his life and he wanted to try harder, but once things got tough, he went back to his old ways and left or pushed me past my limits, and I would leave him and he would see me as a bad guy, which is what I said earlier. I was stronger than all the men I spoke to, but he had my heart, and I had such a soft spot for him, which is ultimately detrimental for me because it made it harder for me to leave, which is true because he got, aside from all the men that makes me sound like such a whore, but from all the men that I like was in relationships with or dating or talking to or whatever it may be, they all got like the bitch side of me because they deserved it, because they would try and come at me with bullshit, and I said no. And he was one of the men that truly got the most softest, most loving side of me. I was 100% vulnerable and loving and soft with him, and even then he was like I said, I don't care whether you live or die. But there was I being a dumb bitch, letting him treat me like that, and I was like, but I love him. But I need him. Just being a complete idiot. And then after that was money, power, glory, then fucked my way up to the top. I can't speak, but when can I? Again, good songs, but I didn't relate to them. And then the one I'm gonna end it with is Old Money. I wrote, when it comes to this song, I feel like it's the end of the relationship wrapped up, but still having no strong feelings for someone. Especially when she says, but if you send for me, you know I'll come. And if you call for me, you know I'll run. I'll run to you, I'll come to you. That's how I feel about him to this day. Towards the last 2 years of his life, he took accountability for everything. He apologized for everything he ever did and said to me, and he showed me the changes he made and was all about me. I got to see the beautiful person he was for 2 years, and it's those 2 years I would never forget. Because he knows I'll run and come back to him and find him and look for him in every lifetime. I would scorch the earth just to find him in every lifetime and be with him and continue the beautiful relationship we had. He's my old money, and he's the only one I will always want, no matter what. And it's true, because that's what I got from that song, is that, okay, the relationship may have ended, but whenever you want to come back, I will always let you come back. And whenever you want to be a part of my life again, I will wholeheartedly accept you to be a part of my life again. You will always be my old money. You will always be somebody I will always run back to. And like how I said, like, I would literally set the entire fucking earth on fire in every lifetime just to find him and just to be with him, because that's how much I truly love him. And like how I said, when he showed me towards the end, like, the type of person that he could be and how loving and supportive and protective and what a true man was and what a true provider was, that's what made it so much harder for me to move on and heal and just accept the fact that I could never be with him again. Because it sucks, dude. And especially during because it happened in the winter time, like December, I believe. That's when it always hits me, and it hits me at random, and I'm like, why'd you have to leave, man? You left me here in this world cold and alone. But yeah, and then after that is the other songs, like The Other Woman, Black Beauty, Guns N' Roses, Florida Kilos. Something I don't really relate to. The Other Woman to a certain degree, because like it could be with his ex, like, you know, with that song she was going back and forth, but like The Other Woman is like, the way I saw it was that, like, you know, she would allow herself to be treated a specific way and I wouldn't, so that's why he went back to her. And then Black Beauty, when she says life is so beautiful but you don't have a clue, because when he moved back, his demons were really like fucking him up, and he didn't live anywhere near where I lived. He was far away, and he could barely step outside because his anxiety attacks would like really get to him. And it was like, dude, life could be, not to make myself sound however I'm gonna come off, but it's like, life is so beautiful, and especially with me, like, I could have been there for you and I could have loved you and even more. So it's just like, you bastard. But yeah, that's what it was for me. That's why I hold Lana Del Rey's Ultraviolence so close to me. And even like the album I've been talking about recently, Ethel Cain's Preacher's Daughter, that's the reason why that album fucked me up so much, because aside from the religious trauma aspect of it, which will be the next episode because people have been wanting me to talk about that, she has songs on there that just reminded me of him. Like, it's the 3 songs that I listen to over and over again that are in a row. It's a House in Nebraska, Western Nights, and I always forget the name of the third one, but it's the one after Western Nights, and I don't know why, but I can never remember the name, and I love that song. But it's those 3 in order that I constantly listen to, because especially House in Nebraska, when she's talking about the relationship that she had and how, you know, symbolically, you know, they were supposed to have a house in Nebraska and grow old together and be with each other. I was either supposed to move to Australia where he was from, the Gold Coast, or I was supposed to move in with him here in Vegas. You know, like how I said, he didn't live near, he lived far. You know, and just to like reminisce on those memories and be like, damn, we could have had a life with each other. And then with Western Nights, you know, when she says he, you know, the part that it was like such a similar lyric to he hit me and it felt like a kiss, or what was it? Jim taught me that loving him was never enough. Was in Western Nights when she says he showed his love through shades of black and blue. When I heard that, I was like, oh, I was like, this is my ultraviolence right here. It's Preacher's Daughter. Because it's true, he did show his love through shades of black and blue. Not through physical, but he was very like, it was like psychological. It was like very abusive in like the root of it. And at its very core is what I meant to say. And then the song after that, I think that one was more just about like the religious trauma. But, and then there's a song in there when she says, you know, it was a man. What? How does it go? Like, it was like the first time she ever saw a man that wasn't angry all the time. And not to go into like my trauma from like familial trauma or like parental trauma or even like religious trauma. My dad was always like a very angry person growing up. So when I met him and he wasn't angry all the time, yeah, that made me fall in love, because I was like, this is the love I was searching for my entire life that I didn't get with my own parents. So I know a lot of the relationship was like love bombing at first, and me using him to fill the voids that I had from my own trauma, which is why the relationship was so bad, because for him it was the exact same thing, and his was even worse than mine. So we were both like love bombing and filling each other's voids, and just, it was just bad from the beginning. But then, like how I said, I saw like the beautiful parts of him at the end, and then unfortunately, you know, he had to take his own life. And then every day, like, I'll miss him every day. There won't be a time where I won't miss him, or where I won't yearn for him, or just want him to somehow show up into my life, because he will forever be the one person that I really wanted to be with. And even to this day, he's the only person I really ever want to be with. But yeah, that's what ultraviolence means to me. And then a little bit of Ethel Cain's Preacher's Daughter. But yeah, I know it's been a minute since I came out with the video, and then I come out with this very sad one. But yeah, that's how it's gonna be for these next 2 episodes, because people have been asking me to speak about my JW experience and my religious trauma, and then my conversion to Satanism, which are gonna be like 2 separate videos. So watch out for those ones. But yeah, you guys, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this and to hear this and to just keep up with me, and also being extremely patient with me being inconsistent. But your boy's tired, okay? I work 2 jobs. My main job is so tiring. And I'm still gonna do the Q&A that I had, that I put up. I got a lot of questions. I just haven't recorded it. There's a lot of stuff on the back burner right now. But yeah, you guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow me on my social medias. I will have them linked down below, just TikTok and Instagram. I've been more active on TikTok now, doing like get readies with me, and it seems like you guys have been enjoying them. So yeah, I will catch you guys all in the next video. Deuces.